Hello everybody, my name is Soaring Sloth and welcome to Dead of Right's Reckoning Any Percent. Today I am with the good Jakeward. The good Jakeward, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah, I am the good Jakeward. As you said, I'm going to be running Dead to Right's Reckoning, one of the greatest games of all time, as I'm sure you all know. So, looking forward to running it today. Alright, so with that, I'm going to get started here. We're going to be starting a new campaign, and we're going to be doing the rookie difficulty, starting from level 1, of course, and I'll give it 3, 2, 1, go, and the run will be off. So, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, basic premise of this game is you just run around and kill everybody, and that's just about it. But it turns out there's a lot of cool out-of-bounds stuff. So right on the bat here, we're going to come over to this staircase and do a backwards dive. Your backwards dive is for some reason higher than your forwards dive, so you can get out of bounds like we are right now with a few well-placed backwards dives. And your dive is sort of how you jump in this game. So there's no jump button, it's basically just your dive. So we'll do a forward dive here, and we will do a nicely placed dive there to jump across that gap, and then come down here. Right here, we're going to rub against this fence to trigger the enemies to spawn in this area. So basically the basic premise of this game is you go into a new area, you kill all the people in that area, and then it unlocks the checkpoint for the next area. But we just skipped a bunch of areas, so yeah, so we have to rub next to that wall that gives you the checkpoint for some reason. Got a couple more enemies here, and we are done with that first level. So when you get to these green boxes, you'll see me dive into them. So your dive is pretty fast when you first start it. It's slow though when you roll out, but since you're diving into sort of a cutscene, you don't get the rollout, so it's faster to dive into the cutscene. Alright, right here I'm going to come up against this pole here, and it's angled just so slightly that you start to climb up it. So we're going to get up to a certain height, and then I'm going to turn, hit start, and buffer a backwards dive, and that's going to get me on top of this building here. Fix my camera. The camera is absolutely awful sometimes in this game. So right here I'm going to try to dive just barely onto the scenery here, and we're going to go around an invisible wall here, try to at least. Oh, and I just fell actually inside a place where you are stuck. So we're going to have to try that all again. That can be a little bit tricky. So you have to sort of walk just right on the edge to where you don't fall down, but you also don't fall inside or you get stuck. So we'll try that again. Climb up our pole. Up to a certain height. Turn, buffer, a backwards dive. That was kind of weird. Alright, so we're going to try that one more time. Again, we're just sort of diving along here, trying to get around an invisible wall, just standing right on the edge as close as we can. Okay, that time we got it, and we are into the next area, so let's go. Alrighty. I do not think this is a pre-world record, whoever said that in chat. Yeah. Alright, so right here we're going to come up here and just drop down barely onto here and jump right there. If you jump to the left or the right of the spot that I just jumped, you'll fall through and go out of bounds. So that's kind of a precise-ish jump there. Here we're going to get up on top of this car. This skip was actually found by a runner named Matt, who was the first person to run this game. All the rest of the skips, unless I say otherwise, were found by me. There's a lot of out-of-bounds stuff in this game, as you've seen so far. Alright, and this last one, I believe was also found by Matt. Oh, didn't quite get up there. So we're going to get on top of this car and dive, ideally on top of this, but it doesn't seem to want me to get up there. And normally there would be guys that would fight you in this area, but because we didn't hit the trigger to load the enemies into this area, because we got in an unintended way, they aren't there, which is very nice. Now we're going to brush against this fence to load in the last few enemies here, and this is going to be the end of level 2. Again, we'll dive into that cutscene. Oh, didn't mean to save there. Saving is not fast. That is not a speed strat. Yeah, so that level 2, it does sort of feel like frame walking, but it's a lot simpler when you climb that pole, because, yeah, you just hold down forward. You're not having to go up and down every single frame like in Super Mario 64 frame walking. Alright, this next one. Yeah, this game was not the inspiration behind Mirror's Edge. But I'm sure, I mean, this game is fantastic. I'm sure it's inspired many, many great games throughout the history of gaming, but I'm not sure if Mirror's Edge is one of them. Alright, we're going to get into this bar here. So there's supposed to be a few waves of enemies that you fight in this bar, but it turns out you can just go right onto the stairs here and dive into the next area. And we'll go and rub next to this saloon door thing to load in the enemies in the next area. So that was also a skip found by Matt. Props to him. Alright, we're on to our first boss fight. And this boss fight takes place in 2 different areas and has a few different phases. But we're actually going to skip the whole first set of phases here by standing on the edge of these tires. You can see the boss is like blasting me with a shotgun in the back right now, and for some reason it's not killing me. But yeah, so we skip those first 2 phases, and then we come back here, and it turns out the boss is loaded back here with the health that he would have had you have beaten those first few phases. So apparently the way they programmed it, there's like 2 of the boss, which is kind of weird, but I'm not complaining. Alright, we're on to the next one. So there's 4 different boss fights throughout this run. So that was 1. We got 3 left. Now we're on to the train yard. If you're wondering what the story is, so you can sort of follow along, there isn't any, really. There's, I guess in the beginning of the game, he gets a letter saying that this girl has been kidnapped, and then he's basically just fighting all these gangs to find the girl. That's basically the whole story. I think you're like a cop or an ex-cop or something, but for some reason you just really want to save this girl. And so much so that you're willing to commit like hundreds of murders to do so, so that's fun. This area has quite a lot of people to fight, but we are at the end of it now. Alright, we're now going to get into the skips for this level. So we'll start off by killing these 2 dudes just so we can be free to set up these next little skips here. First I'm going to get on this box, and then we're going to get right to the edge and do a dive along here, and we just skipped 1 or 2 areas, I think, of enemies. And again, yeah, that was a skip I found pretty early on to running this game, but alright, now we're going to get on this box, and again we're going to abuse the backwards dive, which like I said is slightly higher than the forwards dive, to get over that gap there. Yeah, I mean, who needs an Uncharted film when you have this game? Like, the story's way better. I mean, the gameplay is better than Uncharted for sure. This is right here one of the more complex skips that we're going to do here. I'm going to, well, first I should probably take out that guy. He's getting kind of annoying. I'm going to jump onto sort of an invisible, oh, didn't quite jump at the right angle there. What I'm going to do is jump onto a sort of an invisible platform. There we go, and then I'm going to walk slightly around an invisible wall here, and then not fall off like that. Alright. We're actually going to leave that guy alive, or else the next wave of enemies will spawn, and we don't really want that, so... Alright, let's try this one more time. 3rd time's the charm. I meant 4th time's the charm. Alright. I swear we will get this. This is usually not that hard of a skip. The harder skips are coming up later, but... This is the hardest one we've seen thus far. And I'm hemorrhaging health here. That's okay. Luckily, if you die, you can just go hit restart from last checkpoint. It's not too much of a time loss. There we go. Hit the invisible ledge. Go around an invisible wall a little bit. Backwards dive. Okay, now we're up there. I'm gonna do one more backwards dive to get on top of this train car here. There we go. Nice slow motion. I almost fell off there. That wouldn't have been good. Now we're gonna come over to this edge here. Jump onto here. Again, I'm really low on health, but we're just about done, so I say that, I just missed that jump. We're gonna restart at last checkpoint. Oh man, that puts me farther back than I thought. Alright, the run is going great so far. No complaints. Every skip has been perfect. Luckily, I do plan on being underestimate, or at least I did, so these mistakes are just fine. Yes, advanced RNG manipulation is what I'm doing here. You have to miss that skip 4 or 5 times to get it to work. Yeah, I've never failed that skip so much. Usually it's like at least first or second try, but we'll try it again here. That was just the warm-up. Most runners do their warming up before the run, but I like to do it during. I think it adds a nice little flair to my runs. Alright, that dude. I like how the guys look like they're from the Matrix or something. They're wearing sunglasses and just overall just shooting people. Yeah, this is like not one of the skips I spent a ton of time practicing because it's in theory pretty easy, but there we go. Alright, try this one more time. Again, use a couple backwards dives to get up on top of the railroad car. Things are going to deload for a second. And jump across to this platform. I'm going to really take some time to line this up this time. Do not want to... It's like a pretty lenient jump, but I clearly jumped from too far away that last time. Alright, we're going to rub against this wall, load the last people, and we are done. With that level at least. So that probably didn't save time over intended, but if I would have hit it first try, it obviously would have. The world record before I found all these skips was around, I want to say 40 minutes, and now I've gotten it down to 29, so. Alrighty. Here in this first room, we are going to skip all these guys, we don't care about them. And we are going to jump right on a tiny ledge there, you probably can't even see it. But just barely stand on this invisible ledge here and then do a backwards dive to get over that. Then we're going to come over here. So that was a skip that I found. Now we're going to do a skip that Matt found, who was again the original runner of this game. And we're going to get up on top of this fence here. And so if you let go of a direction while you're running and you're on top of something like a fence, it'll kick you off. So that's what happened there. We're going to come back here and backwards dive over. And we'll need to go back next to the fence just to load in the next people, but I will take them out. So those were 2 pretty big skips there. We skipped about half of this level with those just 2 jumps, which is nice. I did find a way to get sort of out of bounds and skip this section, but it's quicker just to kill these guys here. There's only like 5 or 6 guys that you have to kill in this area, so it's not faster to do the out of bounds. This is the last area of the level. Nice slow motion dive there. In general, we want to avoid the slow motion dives because they obviously make you go slower. That's why they're called slow motion dives. Right there, we have to jump over that car to trigger the last wave of enemies coming, and now we are done with that level. So we are cruising through, making pretty good time. Alright, this level has a skip that I actually just found in the last month or 2. I have not used it in like a world record run yet. So I do hold the world record of this in this game of a 29:07. I think this skip could definitely bring it below 29. It saves about 10 seconds if you do it well. So we'll be attempting it here. It is a little bit tricky. Well, hopefully I can get it. But luckily, if you fail it, you can restart from last checkpoint and you lose basically, I mean, just a tiny bit of time. Alright, so that skip is coming up right here. This is going to be the debut of this skip in a run. This has never been seen in a run before, so hopefully it goes well. So first we're going to kill a couple of guys here just for safety. If I were doing this in a run, I would probably just run and set it up and hope that I get it, but we'll kill the guys just to be safe. Okay, we're going to come backwards here. We're going to aim at the left side of this pipe here. Stand on an invisible platform. I barely missed it there. So again, this is probably not going to save time, but just because I'm going to miss it. But this would save about 10 seconds if you get it perfectly. So this would probably be a reset point if I were going for world records. Alright, we are up there. I'm going to aim at that specific spot, and now we're on top of this wall here. Now this is very precarious. If I fall to the left, I fall out of bounds and there's no way of getting back. Yeah, just like that. That was just foreshadowing there. Cursed myself. I am known for having the commentator's curse, so that was an example of it, even when I'm doing solo commentary. So yeah, once you're up there, it's kind of tricky. If you go too far to the left, you're going to fall out of bounds. If you go too far to the right, you fall right back in bounds, and then all that work you did to set up the skip is useless. So we're going to try it one more time. If this doesn't work, we'll just go intended. Yeah, alright. We'll just go intended. The idea would be, though, that you walk along that edge, that narrow edge, and then drop down into the next room. But at least you get the idea. We'll just continue for the sake of the run. But now you'll get to see what that skip would have skipped. So it would have skipped this wave of enemies here. It would have skipped me having to go over here. So you'll see there's gas pouring through there that's blocking the door. You have to go turn off the gas. Get this nice little cutscene of the gas turning out. And then you have another wave of enemies that you have to fight. So that skip would have skipped all of this. And here I'm going to use the dog for the first time. Sometimes it's faster to use the dog. It's an instant kill, but you do have to watch that cutscene. So sometimes if there's an enemy that's far away or an enemy that's behind cover or something, I will use the dog to kill that person. It's a very violent dog, I have to say. Press one button and it'll kill whoever it wants. So not a friendly dog. You probably wouldn't want to pet it. Yeah, I don't know if dope is the right word to describe the game, but it's definitely a game. It's a pretty short game, even when you're not doing speed strats. You can complete it in about an hour casually, maybe a tiny bit more, but this is pretty much all there is to it. Like, just shooting people. All right, we're on to our second boss here. Unfortunately, there's no way to skip any phases of this boss, but one thing you'll see that I did there was you can dive into them and it knocks them down, which allows you to just sort of rain bullets on them while they're knocked down. I don't know why it takes them so long to get up. A normal human being can get up a lot faster than that, but these are very unique bosses, I guess. Okay, so we are just taking a lot of hits here. I am actually really close to dead. This is actually not good, so yeah. That was not intended. We'll try that boss fight again. I need to follow my own advice and use the knockdown strategy. This dude is like right.
While that's going on, I guess I will remind everybody about the cause we are supporting. Haven House provides round-the-clock care at our hospice, surrounded by beautiful grounds and woodland, in Woodford Green, and through our outreach services in the home and local community. We provide daycare, overnight stays, end-of-life care, bereavement support, as well as life-enriching activities such as sensory play, music therapy, and sociotherapy. We provide care and support and where and when our families need us. Hospice care does not mean that a child is near to the end of their life. We are here from the time a devastating diagnosis is made to help our families have choice, quality of life, and to make the most of the precious time they have together.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, it's a great cause. Definitely donate if you have the means to do so. I did want to point out, I'm like 75% sure it's pronounced hospice, but maybe someone in chat can correct me if I'm wrong there.
It probably is. I tend to mess up my wording quite a bit.
That's fine. It's not really a word you use that often, so yeah. I think I just know that. So my grandpa actually died of cancer, and so he was in hospice care at one point. So I definitely do appreciate this cause. It's a good one.
Of course.
Alright, so not much to say about this level so far. Again, this is more of just the run and gun sort of deal. There is one sort of really dumb skip that we're going to see in a bit. And it's like, you'll see it when you see it, but it's just really dumb how the people who made this game programmed it, but we'll get there in just a bit. So I believe it is after this area here, so. Oh, we missed one person. Yep. Or two. Alright, there we go. We'll dive into the cutscene here. Okay, it's in the next area. I lied. We got one more here. They all start to blend after a while. Alright, we're on to that next area here. And here we are. So, in this area, we're not going to fight any of the people. We're going to go right over to this door here, and are you ready for the best skip of all time? When we hit this door, it gives us a checkpoint. We hit restart at last checkpoint, and it puts us beyond the door. So for whatever reason, when they programmed it, they put the trigger for the checkpoint to be in front of the door instead of behind the door, like the rest of the checkpoints are. So that was just an oversight by the developers, and of course we are going to abuse it in the speedrun. Unfortunately, that's like the only place that we know of that happens, but I'll take the time save where I can get it. Just about finished with this level here, and then we've just got a few left, so we're flying through here. Do not want to save. Alright, right here, this level doesn't really have that many skips, so we're going to be doing it mostly as intended. But when you see the level, you'd think that there would be skips, so there's like sort of gaps where you'd think you could jump through right there, where I'm kind of looking at. But there's a ton of invisible walls there that prevent it. So I've done a ton of looking there because I was like, there has to be a way to skip this courtyard area here, but haven't been able to find one yet. Maybe you'll have better luck than me. And maybe this is a good time to pitch. We are in desperate need of runners for this game. So if you are looking at this game and it looks even remotely interesting, come and check it out. Although this game rivals Ocarina of Time in quality, it just doesn't have the same runner base when it comes to speedruns. So definitely use some more people to suffer with me through this game. And I have made an any percent tutorial, and it is on speedrun.com. So it's less than an hour long. The tutorial is, so you can learn this game pretty quickly. It goes through all the major skips. It does not have the newest one that I found, but I have a separate video on that. So. All right, this area has a little bit of RNG to it. There are a bunch of waves of enemies that will come out here, and it's sort of random the order. There's like 4 different doors that they can come out, and ideally we want one of the doors upstairs to happen last. I just remembered there is, oh boy, didn't mean to do that. So that is the slowest way of killing someone. Really glad I got to show that off. And I'm about to die here. There is a body shield right here. Oh, I just barely got it. Wow, that was nice.
We just got a $10 donation from Science Chub. Great to see the good Jakeward running Dead to Rights Reckoning. Can't wait for the FTLGMarathon run later tonight. Good luck, guys, and thanks to all the runners and staff.
Appreciate it, Science Chub. Love to see it. I'm looking forward to Telelocation Gemini as well. So that's a game that I'm going to be running later with my friend Graybash. It's a co-op game for the N64 that was made in 2020. Yes, there are still N64 games being made in 2020, so that'll be a treat. That'll be coming up a little bit later, so I think around 10:45 Eastern time. I'm gonna use the dog on that guy just because he's kind of far away. Alrighty, we are just at the end of this level here. Just a few more people we'll have to take out. Got a couple people that spawn back here once you take out those people up there. Pick up some guns. Drop down here. There's a nice arcade machine there. Our criminals do enjoy playing games from time to time, as we all do. Again, we don't want to save. That is slower. Alrighty. We've got about 3 levels left, I believe. I don't have my normal splits up that I would when I'd be running, but I think we got 3 left. So maybe 4. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's 4. I do know the game that I'm running. One guy back there that spawns, and then we'll need to hit this switch right here. Ideally, you want to dive into the switch so you can get the cutscene, but I dived at a little bit of a weird angle there. Alright, right here we got a skip coming up. There are normally a bunch of waves of enemies that come, but we're going to shoot that barrel to explode that. Then we're going to get onto this crate here, and we're going to turn around and do a backwards dive to get into the next area. So that skips just a little bit of fighting there and a couple waves of enemies. Alrighty. So at the end of this level, we are going to get to another boss fight. This will be the 3rd of 4 mini boss fights, and then there is a final boss fight as well. Kind of an underwhelming final boss fight, but that's kind of like the story of this game, though, is underwhelming. So yeah, so diving into an enemy like that is kind of the worst thing you can do because it has this super long cutscene that plays. But diving is like a really important way of getting around in the game, so sometimes you can't avoid it entirely. Alright, this boss fight is probably one of the most annoying boss fights in the game, just because it has a bunch of different phases, and after each phase you have to fight a whole slew of the minions. And it's random kind of which from where the minions come. So they can either come from downstairs left, downstairs right, upstairs right, or upstairs left. So you just sort of have to wait here until... Okay, so in this case they came from upstairs right. So we'll get that taken care of. So we'll just have to keep track of where they come out of so we can know not to go to that place next time. So now the boss comes back out, and we're going to get him down to his next tier of health. And now the next group of minions will come out. And that was actually pretty good RNG, so they came out right next to where I already was. So I can just take them out here. And I think that's the end of that phase, so we'll wait for our guy to come back out. Okay, so now we know they're going to come on the left side, either up or down, and it looks like up. So we'll go take them up there. Other than this small thing, there's really not that much RNG in the run, it's mostly just execution. Alright, we are... onto the last phase. We know it's going to come bottom left. So let's go over there. And then we just got to finish off the boss. So we'll wait for him to come out here. There he is. Seems to like that back right corner. There we go. Shotgun finished him off. Alright, we are done with that boss. So we've got just a few levels left here. Now we've got 3 levels left. I was saying there's 3 levels left after that last one. Now it's 3. So here we've got the ski mask people, or the... is that a hockey mask? I don't even know what that is. And for some reason they are shirtless. So this is a gang that does not like wearing shirts. Again, the storyline here is this cop is trying to track down a kidnapped girl, and he's going to all these different rival gangs to figure out information as to where this girl is. You might be asking, like, why does he care so much about this girl? Like, is it someone that he had a relationship with? Is it a close loved one? The answer is no, and we don't really know why he cares so much. He's just that caring of a person that if a soul goes missing, he is going to commit mass murder to get them back. That was a really slow kill there, but we'll make up for it. This is another one of those areas where it's sort of RNG as to where the enemies come out of. That time I got lucky. I had a feeling they would come out of this place right here, and they did, so I started walking towards there. There we go. I believe this is the last group of enemies that will come out. So that was actually pretty decent RNG, because after you fight those waves, you come over here. So that actually was pretty nice. Border there. So this level also has a brand new skip, which is kind of stupid. I just found it the other day. It hasn't been used in a run yet. This one though has a 100% success rate. You'll see why. Alrighty. Oh, it's actually in this room, so I shouldn't have even killed those people. So you're supposed to kill a few waves of enemies and then go to the end, but it turns out the checkpoint is just always loaded. So all I did was just walk there to the end, and you don't have to kill any of the people in that room. And there's like supposed to be 3 different waves of enemies in that room, so it's a pretty decent skip, and all you have to do is just walk to the end. And again, that was just from the developers not programming the game very well. Alright, this level has one of the biggest and hardest skips in the game. We are going to try it maybe once or twice. Hopefully we get it first try. In my world record, I get it first try. And my consistency is pretty decent, but it does have some pretty sketchy out of bounds movement. So we'll see if we can get it first try, or if we don't, like how far we can get into it. But it skips an entire boss. So we are about to hit the fourth and final mini boss before the final boss. And if we do this skip right, we're gonna entirely skip it. And it's a decently long boss fight too. So, all right, we're gonna start the setup right now. So, gonna get up on top of this desk here, sort of angle over here, and jump to these crates. You guys are gonna start shooting at us, but we don't care. We're gonna do a backwards dive to get up there, and then another backwards dive to get on top of the wall here. And now we're going to slowly move around. If you go too fast, well, we're stuck on an invisible wall here, so I'm gonna have to dive. Yep. Okay, that was not even the hard part yet. Oh, I mean that part is kind of hard, but we're gonna try to skip one more time. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm looking at time now. It looks like I'm overestimated, so we're probably just gonna continue. Unfortunately, when you restart from last checkpoint there, it does take you back to the start of the level, which is unfortunate. But we're gonna get through. So that skip, we would have gotten on top of the ceiling and then have to walk all the way around this warehouse, which is a little bit tricky, just because it's a big warehouse, and like I said, walking on top of the wall like that is very sketchy. You can fall off really easily and it'll kill your run. So I'm not too disappointed that we didn't get it. It's all good. But this is the second to last level, and then there's just a short final boss level after this. So hopefully we so this is the boss that we would have skipped, and I'm actually not used to doing it, so hopefully it goes okay, but it's not, none of the boss fights are that difficult. We do have to take out these henchmen because they can really kill your health, but yeah, we'll just keep knocking her down with our dives. And again, it's amazing. She has like no clothes on, but is able to take like 1,000,000 shots at point blank range. It's really impressive. She must have just like steel skin. I need to get that thing there and that health back there. So now we're at full health. Should go a lot better. Okay. So that's a boss fight that would have been skipped, and we would have actually went straight into that room that those guys just came out of. So alright. And then we just got 3 more guys to kill here, and that is the end of this level as soon as we dive into the cutscene here. Alright, we're on to the very end of the game. Final level, which is Whisper's Mansion. So Whisper is the name of the dude that kidnapped the girl that we're trying to save. And so this is his mansion, and he's got a ton of thugs we're going to have to take out. Luckily, they're not too bad. And the guns get better as you go throughout the game, so that also helps. Like, even though the people might have more health or body armor, having better guns kind of makes it all even out in the end. These guys are annoying because they actually run away from you. And if it was just one of them, I could use the dog, but because it's 2, I sort of have to come over here and kill them. And then we got to go all the way back up to the front here. Oh, I guess the left side. Alright, so after we kill this wave of enemies, Whisper is going to come out. Yep, there he is. And he's not too bad. Same strategy as normal. We're going to knock him down. Here we're gonna take out the henchman, just so we don't lose too much health here. I'm gonna use the dog on that one. The dog's name is Shadow, by the way. I think I mentioned that. It's very integral to the plot, so not really. Okay, Whisper's gonna run away. We're gonna have one more group of enemies here, and then we'll go catch up to him on his back porch. We'll need to get some help here, if I can. Whew, that was close. That would not have been good. I believe it starts you over all the way back at the beginning of this level, so... Oh, that would have been a good time to use the dog. Alright. We are on to the end of this level here. Sorry, I'm trying to get my camera locked so that I'm not going to lock onto the enemies in this next place. We are going to do a skip here. Oh boy, my camera is already... So the camera system in this game is pretty tricky. You constantly have to fight against it. But we're going to ignore these people here. I'm going to go get this body armor. I'm going to line up right here and do a backwards dive, and we skip that area there. Now we're on to the final boss fight. It's a quick one. So we're going to need to defeat Whisper the rest of the way. So we've gotten him down to like half health. And so we're going to do that here. And he's, for some reason, he doesn't really shoot back in this phase of his fight. So he's really pretty simple. And then, in the biggest plot twist of all time, it turns out the girl that was kidnapped was actually working with... Oh, that's time, by the way. The girl that was kidnapped was actually working with Whisper the whole time, so we kill her too. Everyone was dead, Shadow and I were alive. This sort of sums up the quality of the story. And that is the end of the game. So again, a little bit overestimate there. I apologize for that, but I'm also running a couple other games in the marathon, and those will be underestimates. So it'll all even out in the end. But thank you for the GGs. And yeah, check out the game if you are interested in running it. We could always use some more runners. But thank you for having me.
Of course, Jakeward. Up next, we have Batman Arkham Origins Any Percent by Ritro. And I think we'll just transition over to that.
Yes,
Take care,
indeed.
everybody.
Again, thank you, Jake, for that amazing run. Lots of fun watching that. Soaring, thanks again for hosting that. Any final words from either of you before we transition over?
I don't think so. I think the story in that game spoke for itself.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks again, guys. We will jump over now, and we'll see you all in a bit.
bed. I thought my eyes would fall straight out of my head. Guess we all living proof of love at first sight. But now we both see love in a different light. Keeping love alive, it's a tricky thing. You gotta let it fly, gotta give it wings. If you wanna make it right, don't let it fry. Don't hold on too tight, you know you gotta try. Keeping love alive. Keeping love alive. Keeping love alive. Still here we are, my friend, over 10 years down the road. 3 kids in a big old house, can't weigh a heavy load. Life, gotta give it to you, don't know how you found the time. Making all ends meet while running down that line. Keeping love alive, it's a tricky thing. You gotta let it fly, you gotta give it wings. If you wanna make it right, don't let it fly. Don't hold on too tight, you know you gotta try. Keeping love alive. Keeping love alive.